Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Really happy, grateful that you're here. Thank you for spending the time to, well, devote yourself to improving. I think that is very honorable, and God will honor your work. So, thank you for taking some time to tune in. Obviously, if you have something to do, you don't have to necessarily tune in live. You can always watch this later on demand whenever you want. For members, of course, this will be unlisted on YouTube once this is over. Just to check in, I will be spending some time running through. Once again, this is a training video. So I'll be spending time. I want to specifically just talk about Friday. So that's what I will want to talk about. Friday, I think there is a lot of things to learn here, and I know you are going to learn something today. Now remember, the day you think you know it all is the day you will start failing, and that is very true of the charts, very true about trading. Every day I come to the trading floor, I remind myself I must be humbled by the market. I must know there is something that I don't know, that I intend to find out. So that's extremely important mentality you must have. And that is why we have the channel where you can look at each other's trades, isn't it? So when you look at each other's trades, you learn something that you don't, because someone else has that perspective, that has seen something that you may not. And that's why working together as a team is very, very beneficial for you. Okay, I'm going to start on Friday, and if we have time, I will talk about, there are other days I want to talk about as well, especially FOMC day. Now, this was FOMC, as you can see, so it's been quite a very, very good week. As I told you, apart from FOMC day, which was quite spectacular, right? Plateauing, Bollingers, it doesn't matter, right? You can find profits in the charts. You see us do it every single day. So I'm going to talk about Friday right now, just a simple one. And if we have time, I will talk about FOMC day, as well as some questions I will want to take. So please leave your comments, no problem. I'll be reading them. And I will be, hopefully we learn something new today. That's quite important. And yeah, happy Sunday. Let's start right now. Friday. Friday is technically quite an interesting day. There are some techniques I wish to teach you. Something. I hope you learn something today. All right, now let's take a look at Friday. Now, firstly, at 9:40 right here. I will address this later because you realize at 9:39 now. This is a timestamp here. Right, so you can just take a look at the timestamp yourself here. 9:39. This was when you see I identified the teal algorithm. This is important. You need to know this, right? So it may not be relevant for now, but I was expecting a deeper head. You see that? The deeper head that should form. And this deeper head is formed by that blue selling algorithm. So I will explain that now. So at 9:40 here, right, I talked about how there is a blue selling algorithm that started forming. You see that blue. So 9:40 here, timestamp. So 9:40 was about after this large red candle here. Right, so this was 9:40 a.m. You can see the timestamp here. There was this larger blue selling I was telling you, and at that point in time you have to prepare. Now just take a look how penny perfect that blue selling is. So if you were holding runners, you will be able to have very good adjustments, managing your runners, managing the risks, and also your rewards. Now if you're obviously someone who's I would say much younger and more active, right? You're able to make quicker decisions. I'm older now. I can tell you that I certainly do trade faster, just probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, obviously. So you can do things like sell your puts, buy it back, sell your puts, buy it back, sell it puts. So you're basically nurturing your runners in that manner by selling it at a slightly more expensive price and buying it back cheaper. Now, you don't have to fully worry about the spreads for SPY or SPX because the spreads are quite lenient. You have to worry, obviously, about your broker fees. But those aside, you understand what I'm talking about. If you're able to nurture like that, right, you're creating less possibilities of losing by holding a runner that may not work out. Now, it's one thing to see this on hindsight, right? Because if you see this on hindsight, you would think, I can just hold my runners, it will work out. Now, trading, it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always have to follow what you want, right? So trust me on this. If you're holding a runner and hoping it goes, you have a very difficult decision. When do you close it? Do you close it here? Do you close it here? Do you close it here? When do you decide to close the runner? Comparably to selling a runner and then buy it back cheap, selling it again, buying back cheap, selling it again, buying back cheap until the algorithm doesn't work anymore. You see the difference there. Now, you will certainly be managing your risks much better that way. But obviously, this is a lot more work, right? It's a lot more work. You need a lot more practice, comparably to holding a runner and just allowing it to, without certainty, when do you close it? And this is why I always tell you, this is hindsight, right? There is no need to be thinking, I sold my runner here, I sold it here, I should have sold it here. No, it doesn't work like that in real trading. It doesn't, right? It creates some sort of conflict in your mind, which will affect your future trading decisions. And it actually makes you a poorer trader in future. So you have to be very careful about mindsets like that, right? So there are hindsight traders that will teach you things like that, which is not good for you. And there are people who trade real time who will teach you the real techniques, the real things you need to be looking out for. But anyway, so understanding that this blue is selling, right? And I talked about this. I told you that there is a green and blue early seller. So once you identify that there is the blue and green seller, you know these people are selling. You want to be latching on them if there's continued selling here, right? So you see beautifully the blue that's starting to sell, right? And I told you have to look out for that orange. So once again, timestamp 940, which was here, right? So 940 here. 940 is about here, after large red candle, right? So you understand there is this blue that's selling, right? Penny perfect blue. And you wait for that orange and just take a look how beautiful that orange is. Especially you see it engulfed twice on the rejection of orange, right? Giving us that absolutely beautiful trade here, especially with the liquidity here of the blue algorithm. You see the blue algorithm getting to work. So this is one of the rare times, right? When you have the precision, in this case, the precision blue algorithm, right? Working perfectly with the orange control algorithm right there. And then this activated the green seller. Absolutely beautiful trade here, right? So this was the first early trade. You saw the structure here, right? Trade the structure demands, as I always tell you. This was at 940, right? You prepared accordingly. Penny perfect algorithms to guide you. And let me explain my trade here, right? So at 932, just 2 minutes in, I opened the trade, right? That worked out quite well, right? So 932 was about here, just 2 minutes in, right? About 932, right? So there was this particular trade. It's closer to 933, right? So this is a trade that I would suggest that if you are a big game hunter, you will have to learn. Now, as I am teaching you how to be taking trades, you realize that my tendency is for you to take as less risks as possible. Now, that is about 90% of you. Need to learn to first manage risks. You are not capable of managing risks yet. And that's why the more you win, even more you will lose if you do not learn to manage risks. So a good part of your trading career, I would say at least a good solid few years of the start of your trading career, you just need to learn how to manage risks. And that means to be taking the safest trade, and that means to be scaling down as much as possible. Now, granted, you will be making less. That is for sure, right? Because you're taking less risks, you naturally will be making less. But it's the understanding of yourself, of how you manage risks, the understanding of risks, right? The benefit and the consequences of risks, right? So many are very lopsided. You only think about the benefit of risks, right? But you do not think of the consequences of risks. So you need to understand risks like a friend or a foe and know how to deal with it. So understanding risk is very important. And lastly is learning how to maximize risk or leveraging on risk. That's very important, right? So you realize 90% of the time, I have this tendency to teach you how to manage risks, right? So safer trades, but as you get better, right? As you get better, you need to have a better understanding of the additional risks, the associated risks, so you know how to manage them better. So one thing, as I always like to tell you, when I do early candle trades, there are a few things you notice, right? Firstly, I'm very deep in the money, right? Because I'm doing something directional. I know that it will. Well, I'll explain this later. Why something slightly deeper in the money? You realize that from the contract price, and I do that early because I know I have the skill and ability to manage the risks to make it back later if it doesn't work out, right? So we understand that. Now, I will explain this trade in a bit. But when was this trade taken? Right here, this red candle here, right? Now, firstly, we were in that strong buy. Okay. You have to understand that now these are advanced techniques. Now, I just want to just share them with you because of a trade that I took. Now, strong buying at the start, it's going to lead to a taper. You have to wait for a taper to start forming. Now, this was when I identified several algorithms here. So once again, this is your first time here, or members you're just unsure, Chacha here, and several members do actually record in real time when the algorithms are charted. So you can just take a look when I've charted certain algorithms. So you realize by the 6th minute here, I've already charted the orange and the teal, right? You see that. So refer this. You will see the time that I charted the algorithms. So I'm being audited every single day by members, right? So these are live analysis. It happens live. People audit me. Even my trades are audited, right? You can check my trades from the exchange if you don't believe them, right? So to do that, if you know what to do, you know what to do, right? So do what you will with the information. But anyway, right? A strong buying, right? So one way to tell the strong buying, right? So you must understand charts are just a representation, a visualization of data. So you have to understand what this data is trying to represent. Firstly, this is quite a narrow channel, right? So this algorithm is narrow, which means that it's very intense buying. It's a narrow algorithm and forming a very narrow channel. It is quite intense buying, quite early in the day. So you know that there is a certain suppression of sellers because it's trying to push to a certain level. Where is it trying to push to? 20-day moving averages here. Isn't it obvious? So you see, firstly, narrow channel, right? Very strong buying algorithm. It's probably one of the strongest buying. You don't see the green buyer anywhere later, right? So if you zoom it out later, you realize this green buyer is completely missing. Maybe once here again, maybe once here again, right? But otherwise, it's always been the blue that's buying up. You see, the buying is always in the blue thereafter. So this green buyer here completely disappeared throughout the day. So this is as strong as it gets. Now, this also comes with some sort of experience. You have some sort of experience in understanding that this is a green buyer that's pretty strong, right? You trade with me every day, you will have some sense to know that this is a particularly strong buyer. Right? So once again, you understand that this is algorithm here that's quite strong. You see that it's a narrow channel, right? So which means it's quite intense buying, which means the selling is suppressed. Why is it suppressed? Because the sellers want to retest a certain major level where they are all waiting. In this case, there is this 20-day moving average. And that is why you see I'm pretty confident in shorting this, because I can learn to manage the risks. How do I want to manage this risk? I have to wait for two types of algorithms, right? The first one is the tapering. So when the tapering appears, I do have some sense that, okay, the buying has started to weaken. So I worry about the secondary buying. In this case, you realize the secondary buying that appears is the blue. So this is also quite important information, because you want to see if the blue is also in control, and it didn't. You don't see the blue in control. In fact, you start to see control algorithms starting to appear, this teal, and then there is a stronger seller that appeared, this blue. And the green as well. The green started to appear, which was good for me. So I know there are some sellers in control here. Now, by this time, once the green seller appeared, I would have already protected my trade. I'm not going to wait around. If I see a chance to protect my trade, I'm going to take it. By the second candle here, once this green algorithm has started showing up, I have protected my trade, protected my position, and from there, I am able to assess if the sellers are continuing to go down. So you realize protecting your trade, getting quickly protected, is one of the very fundamental characteristics of the way you should be day trading, especially 0 day to expiry options, right? Now, understanding that there is also a teal, this helped me. Now, when I knew the teal was around, I knew that this was, once again, a trending down level right there. And if there is a certain zombie to this, right? So there is a certain zombie. This control algorithm is actually a bullish control, which means the bulls want to build liquidity like that by controlling the selling before it heads up. All right. And the bears will use this to sell as well. So the bears want to sell. So in this case, once you see a control algorithm like teal, like this, you know that the bulls want to sell. You know that the bears want to sell. At this range here, there is a mutual interest, right? So this is why I say this is a zone of mutual interest, or zombie. So when you understand this, this becomes very straightforward. I know that if I shorted this at this point, when there was suppressed selling, and when there is a clear target at the 20-day moving average, 20-day moving average has been rejected for many times. This is the first time it's testing it. There will be some leftover sellers right there. As I always tell you, overhang of supply, right? So there will be sellers there. And if you take a look at the 30-minute chart, this is beautiful. You will notice, as I was also telling you, that it's also at the perfect retest of where the orange algorithm is. So that's absolutely beautiful right there. So you see, 20-day moving average, orange resistance. I have so many confirmations to take a slightly riskier trade here. But it doesn't mean that you're doing it blindly. I'm able to manage my risks because of the control algorithms here. If this is starting to just build liquidity here, this helps me because I have taken something that is pretty much at the money or in the money. So it doesn't decay that much. My decay is very limited, especially early in the day. So I can make very quick decisions to cut if this doesn't work out. And because it's a line that's trending down, if you're taking puts, something that's trending down is actually beneficial for you. It's a win-win. And once I see the selling algorithms starting to appear, you realize these are all selling algorithms. They're all trending down levels, right? And the green as well. So you want to be identifying as many selling algorithms as you want at this point if you're trying to short this, which I did, right? And once I protected this, you realize I have to protect a little bit more aggressively. I couldn't get the fill, right, because it's starting to move a little bit more. So I took 10 seconds to get a fill. And thereafter, you see my next, I was able to hold it to $28 because it started going down and I see it's selling in that green. So I could manage it even better. Absolutely beautiful, isn't it? So understanding, you take your risks. Now, if this doesn't work out, here are my risks. If this doesn't work out, here are my risks, right? Once I broke, I would just cut. As simple as that. Or if I were to hold to the orange, which is actually quite dangerous, I would actually advise against this. So what I would do is I would cut it if it broke out the teal, and then I'll look for structure if it's heading down again. Probably notice that there is an orange, and if it starts to head up like that, I would probably take it when it break that 20-day moving average again. Instead of holding and hoping. You don't hold and hope. So you notice in that case, my risk to rewards is very, very tight. Absolutely tight, isn't it? I closed this at 43. I'll tell you what's my I closed it here. I'll tell you what's my thought process behind that as well, so you can understand a little bit better, and just take a look what my risk to rewards were because of that. Right, so I had a short position. I took trade about here, a little bit closer to the end, right, and teal was my stop loss, and I closed it at 43, which was about here. I'll just take a look. The risk to rewards, see it for yourself, is 18.7x because you have a very tight stops. So you had confirmation, and you have plenty of confirmation as I was teaching you, right? So they're derived confirmations. It's not as simple as I touch this level, that's your confirmation. Sometimes it's not that simple. They are derived, inferred confirmations as I was teaching you, because you understand the dynamism, you understand the behavior of demand and supply, right? You understand buying and selling behavior. So all these requires that you spend time on the chart, you spend time with my analysis, you spend time trading with me daily. So that's also very important, right? So understanding this, and then understanding how I manage my risks, right? So this could have been more. Let me explain, right? But 18.7, come on. You can't argue with that, right? So anyway, what I was trying to do was, once I closed something that was deep in the money. Now, when you're trading options, you have to choose your strike. That is where you make more risk to reward ratio better. Choosing your strike is important because once you're deep in the money, in this case, $28 is pretty deep in the money. My delta was probably about 7 or 8, thereabouts. It's not going to increase even more. So you're not just making money from linearly, right? So options, you must understand, you're not just making money linearly from the price. You're also making money from the increase of the delta. So the delta is the first derivative, right? You're making money from the delta of the change in price. So for example, if your delta is 0.7, right? So just a quick one. These are basics you must study first before you come onto the trading floor with me as much as you can. Because I'm going to teach you things that people cannot teach you. Because no one's going to live trade and teach you at the same time. However, you can learn option pricing. You can learn how options are priced from a YouTube video that was probably done from reading of the textbook, for example. Right? So these are things that you can learn elsewhere. Do it. Because what you want to learn from me are things that people cannot teach you. Anyway, I'll quickly explain this, right? So let's say you have a 0.7 delta contract, right? And SPY moves 1 point, right? So basically you're making 0.7 point, right? So it's 0.7 delta multiplied by 1, so you're making 0.7, right? Of course, you times 100 because you're taking 100 contracts. So you understand that it's quite a simple logic. So this is the first layer. But you're not just making money from delta, right? As it gets in the money, your delta increases, and that's your gamma. Your delta increases as you get deeper in the money. So you're not having a linear 0.7 as it gets in the money. At this point here is 0.7. At this point here, it becomes 0.72, becomes 0.74, and then it becomes 0.8. So you see, you are making money on two levels. You're making money from the delta, and you're making money from the increase of delta. However, the increment of the delta gets lower and lower because it's closer to the maximum of 1 delta. So what you want to choose your delta, you have to understand your intrinsic and your extrinsic value and make a good choice for a delta that can get in the money quicker. So this is what I did. This is cool, and I call this upcycling. So I upcycled my puts into something that is slightly out of the money, so that I was hoping that it gets in the money and I will get the effect of that snowballing in that increase in delta. Right, so understand this, understanding the Greeks, so your choice of your strikes will be better. And this helps me as well because I am reducing my risks. Because if this turns against me, especially right now after so much, you see that it's no longer selling in the green, right? It's no longer selling in the green, it's selling in the blue. So I expect a little slow action. Right, I'm reducing my decay by lowering my delta. Because I lowered my delta, I'm decreasing my decay. Understanding what can help you make money can also cause you to lose money, right? It works both ways. You can use a knife to cook, or you can use a knife for nefarious activities. It goes both ways. You have to understand that. Right. So in this case, unfortunately, I set a stop that was too tight, and I just left it as that. Right. It's my mistake. I could have just protected the trade and just left it. My goal was to get this to 5-day moving average. So you notice that this strike, 74.20, was the 5-day moving average strike on SPX. Now you can see it for yourself. My choice of strike is there. If I'm not wrong, SPX 5-day at that time was 7416 or 17, neither which. So this was the reason why I chose 74.20 as my strike. I wanted this to get to 5-day moving average. It would have been a great trade because I have already protected my runners, right? So I upcycled it. I would have maximized my returns in that way. But yeah, I get stopped out early and that's it. You call it a day because I'm out of position and there's no need for me to take additional risks, especially after a pretty good trade right here. Right, so you understand this, and that's why it's important you truly spend time to trade with me, my live analysis, or even study the end of day summaries, right? Study this at end of day, and very importantly, spend time just going through the early algorithms with me. There are so much resources here, not just by me, but also members who are using what I do to create their own resources. So that's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for that. That's how we learn together as a community, right? So do take time to do that. It's pretty important, right? So that's the idea of the first trade right there, and that's quite straightforward. Now you see that it started selling all the way in that blue rhythm. There's nothing you can do if you're not in the trade, right? You want to chase this. I would advise against it, right? So you have to wait for structure like this orange here, as I showed you, right? You have to wait for structure like that, right? But if you miss this as well, then so be it. So be it. The beauty of this, so you see, you can't please everyone. So you want to be in a position that can take advantage of this instead of trying to force your way out of this. So in this case, this is perfect for people with a trade because you are able to manage your runners beautifully and maximize your returns in that way. So instead of forcing trades, I want you to therefore study and review. It happens more often than you realize, right? I want you to study and review how you can be maximizing this when this happens. So the first part I already told you one way, and that is to buy, sell, right? You manage it within the runners, within the channel, but be aware of your spreads, be aware of your slippages, be aware of your commissions that you pay to your broker, right? So you've got to practice that, work that out. It's something that I cannot teach you explicitly because everyone is different, right? You have to learn that. Obviously, your risk appetite as well. I'm not that hardcore to do that anymore. I used to scalp very aggressively. Not anymore after my brain surgery. But this is as good as it gets, right? But if you don't do that, that's fine too. You still can, as you can see, there are a million ways to trade. You have the tools. In this case, you have the penny perfect algorithms and the skill that I'm trying to teach you. The next thing you do is how do you apply it to your best case for yourself. So anyway, remember I was talking about this, right? The teal, and you notice this teal, we identified it as early as 9:39 right there. At 9:39 a.m., look at the timestamp here, 9:39, we already identified the teal, which became so important because just take a look how beautifully it was building liquidity. Just let me extend this without doing anything wrong. Let's take a look at yourself. How beautiful this teal is. It's to the penny. And I think 5-day was about there, right? If I'm not mistaken. This line is 5-day, but it's an average figure now. It's not static doing live trading. And I reminded you back then again at 10:24. At 10:24. Now this was when, let's see, 10:24 was about here, this candle here. 10:24. Just take a look for yourself. 10:24. 10:24 right there. The timestamp is here. 10:24. The timestamp is here. You see it for yourself. Understanding that there is tapering. Understanding there is the reclaiming of the 5-day moving average, right? And thereafter you see how beautifully. Now this is the same teal algorithm as I shown you. Now you can verify this. I didn't change this. You can verify it from the videos that members took when I was charting this live. And just see how beautifully it was building that liquidity right here. Look, it's that inverse head and shoulder pattern building off that teal algorithm perfectly right at the top. See it for yourself. The market was really kind. It truly is. And this is a sign that the market is flushed with liquidity, especially after FOMC on Wednesday and obviously after the reaction on Thursday and Friday, right? There is continuation, as I told you. If the continuation after FOMC is in one direction, that's generally the I talked about this. Let me search for it now. I'm not sure when. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't have to prove anything. But what I said was that if Thursday showed a certain continuation, then Friday, it should follow that continuation. Because you understand, Wednesday is the FOMC, right? So the FOMC made a decision. Now, if Thursday, there is a reaction, there is a digestion of the market has digested the information, right, and decided to go up. So Friday usually is a continuation from that, which means the entire market will follow suit with what they have digested earlier. And that's why you see that we were, as I mentioned, flushed with liquidity. And therefore you realize that the structure were very beautiful because of how we were flushed with liquidity right there. So understand that, right? It becomes very easy to understand the teal that's building the inverse head and shoulder pattern right there. So this was an absolutely beautiful trade. Once again, at 10:24, are you able? Well, firstly, the teal was identified here at 9:39 a.m. So you realize at 9:39, when the market was dumping, we identified a teal algorithm that could or could not be used later. It doesn't matter. There is no chance of you identifying this teal. And let me show you that again, 9:39. Now, if it doesn't happen, so be it. 939 right here, we identify the teal. And that's the thing. So many of you are how should I put this? So worried about being wrong that you stop preparing. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I prepare anyway. Do you realize in life you have to prepare, right, for maybe for 100 probabilities, for example, and only one will happen. But the more you prepare, the more prepared you are, because you don't know which one will happen. But many people approach trading in a way that they want an outcome to happen. So they blame you for things that don't happen, and they just want you to say one outcome that may happen. They just want you to tell you one probability that happened, and they want that outcome to be an exact probability. They are looking for fortune tellers because they are gambling. Gamblers think this way. Gamblers think of a hot tip. Gamblers think of ways to make it easy because they're lazy. Gamblers are lazy people. Their minds don't think. They just want the dopamine that comes with gambling, so they don't think. But you and I, we treat this is not a game for us, right? We are feeding our families with this. In fact, this is a professional skill for you. This is an elite level of activity. You are with the elite when you are playing this game. So you want to be as prepared as possible. Can you imagine playing chess, not being prepared for all the possibilities, and just hoping that the opponent just plays the exact one outcome that you're prepared for? That's so unrealistic, isn't it? And just with everything in life, if you're playing sports, you want to prepare the entire playbook. So you're ready. You know what the opponent is going to do, and you have a counter for everything that he's trying to do. Of course, there are permutations to the probabilities that you create, and that's why it's important to learn the techniques, to learn to permutate the probabilities. And in this case, I am preparing for two probabilities, and both has happened. It's as good as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. It truly is. But I'm not trying to tell the future. What I'm trying to tell you is that you have to get rid of the very low level mentality that some of you have when you come to trading. You're not thinking like professional. You're not thinking like an elite trader. And therefore you get lazy. But I'm here to assure you that if you put in the work, there is a certain outcome that is quite favorable to you, and you see me do it day after day. There will be haters, I can guarantee you that. There will be people who are out there mocking you because they can apparently make a lot more money by doing less work. And there are people like that. Whether you're in school or at work or wherever you go, there will always be people like that. But trust me, they never prolong their success. They never endure. They will always fail eventually because they are not building the right foundation. And as you grow older, you grow more experience in life, you will see more of that among your friends, among even your family, sadly, or even among your colleagues, your co-workers. The point is, as you grow older, you will see more because your friends grow older together with you, and therefore the sample size increases, right? The time for them to fail also increases, and you can see that for yourself. So experience truly matters in everything in life, especially trading. So my point once again is, I identified this. If you have a bias, if you're worried about being wrong, you would have never prepared for this, isn't it? And that's the thing. Why are you worried about being wrong? I don't care about being wrong. I worry about being unprepared. I worry about not learning to manage my risks. I worry about losing money, and I worry that I do not make money. So why do I care about being wrong? I will prepare anyway because I see the market showing this buyer that's trying to build liquidity. I don't know where, I don't know when yet, but I will prepare because when the time comes, and you can see it for yourself on Friday, when the time comes, it will happen. As simple as that. So please, don't worry about being wrong, right? Let people mock me, but when you learn it properly. You understand? I get mocked every day when I post on YouTube. Let me tell you that. I get mocked every day. There are so many haters out there, and that's fine, right? let me absorb it. And some of you support me, right? Some of you have my back. Some of you encourage me. And I'm very grateful for that because of you, I can sustain. But let me absorb the mockery. Let me absorb the hatred so that you can focus on learning. That's what you need to do. I'm all right. I'm actually fine. Our lives continue, right? Because we're doing good work. We are reminded by strong purpose and duty. And every day when we come in and we do the work, we forget all the mockery. It truly doesn't matter to us, right? It's only when you're idle, right? So once again, do not get idle, because when you have nothing to do, when your mind and your body becomes idle, that's when you allow all this hatred to get to you. So keep yourself busy, you'll be absolutely fine, right? Keep yourself purposeful, busy, meaningful work in your life. You'll be absolutely fine. You have no time for nonsense like that. So anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is don't be afraid to prepare. I see some of you preparing 20, 30 possible scenarios for yourself because you have to break down the two big scenarios that I gave you, right? Well, they are kind of like the same scenario too, because I'm expecting ahead, right? So you see, this is somewhat the same scenario, right? But anyway, some of you prepare multiple scenarios because you break down you deconstruct a larger structure into smaller structures that you can prepare for. Excellent. That's what you need to be doing, right? Every day you train yourself to be preparing for setups, preparing for possibilities, so you know how to deal with the risks. And not just how the market moves, you're dealing with the risks. You're learning how to manage risks. So when we do this, we're not just worried about, now, on first look, like that, to an untrained eye, there are many levels to this, right? So to the first untrained eye, it'll be like signals. You'll be thinking, this is a signal. People telling you where this is going, right? So that's untrained people. And to a slightly trained eye, you're looking for larger structures. You're looking for confirmation on where the market is going. But I'm telling you, if you are a seasoned, trained eye, if you're a seasoned professional, you're looking at nothing else but how to manage risks. If you can do that, if everything you do is learning to see how to manage risks, trust me, if you can learn to manage risks, your profits will follow. Because all you got to do is worry about the precision algorithms when you are making profits, when you're holding the profits. You realize once I closed and protected my trade here, I allowed the precision algorithms to guide me to the profits. As simple as that, right? So anyway, understanding this, quite important, right? When you can understand this, this becomes a piece of cake for you, right? Because you have to learn to manage your risks. And how beautiful is that, right? Because at the end of the day, we started pushing out. I identified this pink as well. Once we close the cup, this comes as no surprise to you if you've been trading with me long enough, right? So I identified this pink also quite early on. I was already away. You see it form that cup and handle beautifully off that 20-day moving average as well. Absolutely beautiful. So you have that final 30 minutes trade, which I took as well here. So I shared it here as well, right? This is my final 30 minutes trade. Absolutely beautiful. Everything is structural, right? You understand your risk and you manage it accordingly as well. So Friday, there are so much to learn. There's so much to learn. You realize that I'm starting to teach you some big game techniques, big game thought process as well, because I want most of you to enter into this big game territory. As I tell you, if you're trading and not focused on getting to the big game, there are better things to do to make money, right? So I want you to focus on that, and that is why you don't worry about the daily profits for now. You worry about getting the foundation strong. You worry about managing your risks. You worry about doing the right things and train yourself, because eventually you will get to the big game if you do so. Back then, right, where I was working, when I was working, the big banks, I can tell you they're probably the biggest in the world, the biggest public bank in the world, right? I don't know about those that are not declared. I'm sure there are bigger banks out there, right? One of the things that they teach us right from the start is to have a big game mentality. The way you dress, the way you meet clients, right? You have to show people you are the big dog. You cannot enter the bank with the mentality that you are from a boutique firm, for example, which you act very differently. So as a result, there is a lot of wastages, right? There is a lot of excess because of that sort of demeanor, that sort of style that you must carry. You must show that you are so abundant. You must show that you are so indifferent that you can have excesses, right? So it's seen. That's why sometimes we are associated as being arrogant or cocky or whatever. But that is the style when you're working with the big boys, right? So we were trained for that. People who were not like that, they probably exhibited boutique firms demeanor, right? They scrimp and save. You can see that in their results, right? They are not making the big bucks. They are not taking the big risks. They are not managing. They don't learn how to manage big risks. They get phased out eventually, right? Because the culture is just very different. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when you come to the trading floor here, when you decide that you want to learn trading, most of you don't think that much, right? And I wouldn't have thought that way if I have not entered into that bank where I was working at. I would never in 1,000 years been exposed to a culture like that, or to the understanding of why there is a culture like that. And now I do, because I realize that this trading world right here, this is a game for the big boys. You have to know that, and it's extremely lucrative. Now, the reason you're trying to learn this is because you have this hint that you know that this could be lucrative for you, right? And I'm not wrong. You're here because you want to learn. You want to learn to earn some money. But if you're thinking of earning a little bit money here, and therefore you don't want to devote the commitment, you don't want to devote the time, you don't want to build a strong foundation, you don't want to suffer a little bit more before you get to where the results are, right? Because everything requires training, and training is tough. No one wants to talk about suffering. As I told you last week, everyone wants to manifest success. Everyone wants to manifest success, but they do not want to manifest suffering that comes with the success. Nobody does that. Nobody likes training. You have movies talking about triumphant success, victories, right? And their training montage is only literally a 1-minute training montage out of maybe an hour of success and beating up the villains in the show. You realize it's very disproportionate, because nobody wants to talk about suffering, and everyone wants to talk about the results. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you want to play this game, you need to know what it must take, but yet you must know what are you going to get out of it, right? And as I tell you, this is the rewards are immense, because there is a market capitalization in the entire market in literally probably 100 trillion now with inflation. 100 trillion. 100 trillion. If you put it in numbers, you will not even believe how big that number is. And you and me, we're just literally just trying to take thousands off the market every day. You see the difference, right? So understand the proportion of this, and understand how lucrative this market is. Then you understand the amount of suffering and work you need to put into this. As I tell you, as I've often told everyone, if you're looking to make a few hundred a month from this, you're better off learning another skill or getting a job. In fact, getting a job anywhere will make more money and less pain if you're thinking of just making a few $100s from this. So it must be proportionate. You must know why you're doing this, and you must know the work required you from this. And that requires you to determine an identity right from the start when you learn this. If your identity is that you want to be professional, you want to be an elite trader, then you've got to embody that identity. How serious you want to take this, and what are the suffering you need to take. And that requires you to even practice more than you trade. Can you do that? But if your identity is to find entertainment, is to gamble, that's fine too. Just be honest with yourself, right? So that honesty, that discovery of yourself, you need to find out. Not everyone is suitable for this. Absolutely, right? Not everyone is suitable for everything. But you can try, because that shouldn't stop you from at least being honest with yourself. So it doesn't matter whether I chanced upon this, right? I didn't. Now, back then it wasn't fashionable, right? Especially with the global financial crisis back then in 2008. It wasn't fashionable to be in finance. You become hated upon. Everyone hates you. So I chanced upon this, right? No one comes to where they are groomed and planned, unless you have parents who are in the business for decades, for generations. You don't land up where you are because you were groomed, most of you, right? Like me, I grew up in the streets. I grew up without home. I was being fostered, not by individual family, mind you. I was being fostered by a community. I didn't know where I would land up. True enough, right? So I ended up here out of chance. Obviously, I am a believer, so I believe God brought me here. But you see, you make the best out of it. You don't know where you will be, but you make the best out of it. And in the process, you discover yourself. You learn more about yourself. You get more honest with yourself. You become more discerning about life and about your journey in life. Now, that's all that matters. So if you're unsure if you want to do this, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're unsure about everything in life. You're unsure about the partner you choose. You're unsure about how you're parenting your children. You're unsure even about the food you're eating, whether it will kill you the next day. You don't know, right? But that's the thing. The discovery process is not about being sure, because you can never find certainty in life. It's about being honest with yourself. So every single day you have inputs, and you become a better person because you have better inputs, and you learn how to deal with these inputs in your life. And therefore you grow on feedback day after day. And that's why with time and with experience, you hopefully become more successful, because you become more honest with yourself. It's the same with people who are in nefarious industries, right? And in fact, some of them thrive and succeed because they are honest with themselves in knowing that what they're doing is wrong, and they double down on it. It's not right, but at least they're honest with themselves, and that's why they find success in certain things. Now, obviously, there will be consequences to that, as always, but they are honest with themselves, and you see, they find success. Well, I use the word success very loosely because I don't think people who are doing vice are successful. I don't. I truly do not. But the point is, they find progress in their work because they are honest with themselves, not necessarily success. So you see, one trading day, that's all you need to know, right, when I teach you things. So yeah, we'll carry on. And let's see if we have time. Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the day, but I need to take a short break, if you allow me to. Just a minute. I'll take a short break, take some time to digest for yourself as well. Leave some comments if you have learned something today, and I'll carry on. I think I will stay here for at least another half an hour to talk a little bit about the FOMC day. It's the day I want to talk about, as well as continuation. I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we will have some question and answer. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Please allow me just 30 seconds break. I'll just take a little short water break. Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. I'll carry on a little story from where I stopped earlier. So, I left the bank. Subsequently, my ex boss headhunted me to a new venture that he created. Partly because I am just not suited for the culture. As I told you, the culture requires you to have that certain magnitude of excess, of abundance, to the point that you are completely wasting resources, because they believe that they are, arrogantly abundant. So I can't, as I tell you, the culture kicked me out. I got phased out eventually, which is fine, because as you grow older, as I tell you, as you grow older, you discover yourself a little bit more. You realize that not everything is suitable for you. So I have, I have teammates back then who already made partners. They are big shots right now. Some of them went out and obviously ventured on their own. They are doing very well, but that's fine. Right at the end of the day, I am very happy where I am. I'm probably a fraction of my net worth is probably a fraction of where they are now. And that's fine, right? Because I'm happy where we are at. I have more than enough. I'm able to feed generations of not just my family, but generations, hopefully, of the orphanage that we are setting up. Hopefully we create something that's self-sustaining as well, that it can, obviously with the financial knowledge that we have, how do we design something that can allow it to self-sustain and to circulate and to continue to feed generations perpetually. So you see, it's not just about money, right? It's also about experience that we learned. It's about all the everything that amalgamates into who we are. So as you're in this trading journey, it's not just about the money. Remember that the money will come if you set things right. Not just your skills, but also your values, most importantly, because you can have rotten values. You can have rotten character, rotten values that will squander anything you make anyway. So what I'm trying to teach most of you is something that I've experienced for myself. If you have not been part of a winning team, you don't understand what it means to win. And that's what I'm trying to impart to you. When you are in a winning team, you know what it takes to win. You don't find winning unfamiliar anymore. You are no longer a loser. You don't think like a loser. You think how to win, not how do I not lose. And there is such a big difference. Well, obviously, this is just over the internet. But it's good enough, right? If we spend time to nurture each other's minds, each other's heart, we and see each other's progress. That's the most important, because that's how we encourage each other, and that's how we show each other that we are part of the journey together with one another. Because it's important knowing that there are companions in this journey, how we are walking together, how we are progressing together, how we are manifesting success and suffering together. There's no need to, I can tell you honestly, there is no need to see each other's faces. There's no need to see what you have and what I don't have, what I have, what you don't have. All these, you realize now, it's immaterial. It's irrelevant. And you realize we can still be a spiritual community in that case without even knowing each other's names. That's good enough. Well, obviously, you know my name. Yeah, all right. But you get the point. And I know some of your real names. Fantastic. It's nice to know. It's good to know. But to many of us, we will never put a face to the name, but it doesn't matter, because the connection is beyond material. It's beyond superficial. And I feel that makes the connection even deeper. So much deeper, because we are putting focus on the right things. And the right thing is the skills that we put in, not the type of materials we have. You see, I don't know what cars you have. I don't know what house you live in. I don't know how much money you have. You see, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But yet, when we have real friends out there, right? I use the word real very loosely as well. You know what house they live in. You know what cars they drive. They corrupt our perspective of them. Because it's very difficult to compartmentalize the material and the immaterial. So I cherish this, I cherish what we're doing here because our connection is pure. It has remained pure by the constraints of what we're doing here, by the constraints that I cannot see your face, by the constraints that I don't know what you have, how much you have. All I know about you is your progress in life. And that is more than enough. That is all I need to know as your companion in this journey. I want to know you progressing. I want to know your victories, your triumphs. I want to know your suffering. That's more than enough. It's pure. It's crystallized. It's not corrupted by more information than necessary. And you see, that is why, what it means to be focused. I am focused on your success. I don't even need to know who you are. I want your success. Because we are journeying together every single day. I spend so much time with you here. So do you to me. You spend so much time watching my stuff, spending time with me here. I know. Likewise, me to you. And you see, that's the beauty of this companionship. And that's why, you see, I rationalize it like that. And you understand why this is so important. And, in my meditation, in my prayer, I realize how pure this is. I realize how unadulterated it is. And I intend to keep it that way. I truly, truly cherish this very pure relationship that we have that's very focused on this particular success. And let's keep it that way. Let's keep focusing on that as well. Right? We have to stay focused. Let's not get distracted, right? There are other means you can get distracted. But when we are here, right, we stay focused. Now imagine your workplace, right? You go to work, you report to work, right? And you get into unnecessary office politics, for example, or you get into relationship problems with your superiors, with your fellow co-workers, Oh, you see jealousy. You don't know how much that person. You found out that the other person is being paid more than you when you're doing more work. You realize these are what I mean by immaterial distractions. It's so unnecessary, right? Or just one day you notice one of your co-workers is wearing a more expensive watch than you, and you get all affected by it. It's natural. We're human beings. So this is perfect. This is great. Spend time here, crystallize yourself, and stay away from all distractions. Learn as much as you can. Your success is truly rooted, and it depends on this. Right? It depends on your focus. You need to stay focused. And we can get this done. Absolutely. And remember, as I told you earlier, you have to understand what it means to win. Right? When I got into the bank, well, you all of you know which bank it is, right? Some of you are, but I don't want to mention it for reasons. I never knew what it felt like to win. Swanky, it's swanky. I never ever felt how it felt like to win. But the minute you step in to a high-level meeting, you have won. You feel it. You feel it. So, what I want to impart to you is this. This is big game mentality. You come in here, you need to know you are competing with the best of the best. If you are still thinking you're doing something that's insignificant, know that when you put in a trade, the best people in the world, the elites know you have put in a trade. They know you exist and you become their target. Can you imagine being a target of someone powerful? You are in the same league as these people, right? So you're here. You need to have a big game mentality. And as I was telling you earlier, that big game mentality means it comes with certain commitment. It's not easy. And how are you willing to take the sacrifices to manifest your suffering in order to get to your target? Now, obviously, you think big, but you don't immediately aim too large for yourself, right? You cannot bite off more than you can chew. So you take it step by step anyway. Take it step by step, and you will eventually realize that the progress will get there. So the first thing you have to realize for yourself is your roadmap, the possibility there. Now, when I was younger, I look at balance sheets that are in the billions. I actually thought I could become a billionaire when I was younger. Because you were put in that position, you were put in that environment where you see big numbers all the time. So I was convinced that I could possibly be a billionaire. But as you grow older, you realize that, you have a self-discovery, as I tell you. You realize that's not important to you. But that's fine, you see. I'm still where I am today. I'm still doing very well. So you don't have to get to your ultimate goal, but you can still achieve your life purpose. It's very different, right? So sometimes you have a goal here. So your ultimate goal is here, but you don't have to get to your goal for you to realize your purpose. So once you realize your life purpose, you start branching out to fulfill that purpose instead. And the original goal that you have, it doesn't matter anymore. It fades out. But that doesn't mean you discount that goal, because that goal, the path towards that goal, led you to your purpose. Does that mean this goal is wrong? It's not. You don't achieve it doesn't mean that it doesn't lead to your purpose, right? So I had that big game mentality because in my 20s, I thought I would be a billionaire. You see, that path led me to my purpose today. But it doesn't mean that I don't fulfill or I'm disgraced by that goal, right? I was young, reckless, probably a little pompous, arrogant. So yeah, obviously I have that goal, and you recognize it today. So in your journey to that goal, I want you to know that it will lead you to your purpose, right? God will lead you to your purpose. So don't shy away from goals. It may sound lofty, it may sound unrealistic, right? But you don't have to achieve it. It will still lead you to your purpose, which is more important than the goal. What's the point of achieving a goal when it's not your purpose? Right? So, you're here, you're trading, right? Because obviously it's more lucrative than you think it is. But if you treat this like gambling, you're on the wrong path. I am not the right person to take advice from, because some people really do gamble on the stock market every single day. I know, because this is a casino that's open and it's available for you at home. And there are people who gamble on the stock market every single day. I know that because I've seen it as well. Yeah, fine, right? If you have all the money in the world, right? If you make more money elsewhere and you're just putting it here as a gambling, that's fine, right? Be honest with yourself, right? I wouldn't say that is a good thing to do. It's fine for you, but I don't think it's the right thing you should do. But firstly, be honest with yourself, right? Are you here gambling? Are you here to find entertainment? Right? Or are you truly trying to make a living? You think that this, and let me tell you, trading, as I always tell you from the start, I may be teaching you day trading stuff right now here, but this is not the end goal. This is just a means to an end. Because with the skills in day trading, you learn the right financial skills to manage your portfolio and to grow wealth. Because at the end of the day, you are growing your wealth. And if you attended at least the first few training sessions, I told you the most important thing for growing your wealth is to build your assets. But many people build their assets, but they do not manage it. And that's because they don't have the necessary skills. And I am teaching you all these skills using day trading to teach you to manage your assets. Because remember, at the start of this training, what am I trying to teach you? How to be managing risks. If you learn to manage risks in anything in life, you will do absolutely fine. You will build generational wealth. You will be absolutely fine. If you learn to identify, learn to recognize, learn to be friends with risks, learn to maximize, learn to leverage, learn to manage it properly. So this is what we're doing, right? If you're learning day trading, as I always tell you, the things we do here, the things I do on a daily basis, this is extremely advanced. As simple as it looks, it's actually quite advanced. But you don't have to do this at my level. You don't have to be trading 0-day to expiry SPX, for example. Right? You can tone down the difficulty. I have to do this to show you how it's possible. But you tone down the difficulty. Or you just learn what you can from here and you use it in managing a portfolio. And that's what some of you are doing. Right? We don't have degenerates in our group. We don't. Because purely I turn you off if you're a degenerate. That's great, right? And you'll be surprised. We actually have many, many multi-millionaires in our group. So many of you. But you're here just to learn how to manage risk. You're here to accelerate your money, as I told you. First few training sessions as well. Day trading is a way to accelerate. It's an accelerator for your money. When you accelerate some of your earnings, you actually increase your metrics. When you increase your metrics, you're adding on to your portfolio, and your portfolio is about buying assets. And when you buy assets, you milk the assets, right? How do you make more income with the assets? So there is an entire flow to this, which I will be slowly imparting it to you. And you realize day trading is probably only 10 to 15% of how you should be building your wealth. But yet, this forms the strongest foundation, believe it or not. When we talk about the foundation of finance, I actually think day trading is at the bottom. If you can learn the most difficult way of managing your risks, now it doesn't mean you have to do it. It doesn't mean you can learn it, but it doesn't mean that you day trade aggressively. You learn to day trade, you know how to day trade, you day trade with a small account, you know how to manage your risks. Once you can master this, anything above this becomes very easy for you, right? And at the end, this is where most of my rich friends are at right now, right? So they have 100 million portfolio and they're just taking, skimming off 5% returns every year, doing absolutely nothing, right? They're lending, they're buying treasury bills, that they're just allowing their family offices to do whatever they want. And they just make 5 million free money a year while their capital remains intact. Good for them, right? I'm not near this. I'm not. But that's what the rich do, and they absolutely do nothing about that. But how do they build it from there? They manage their risks one step at a time before they get to that stage. That's fine. That's absolute beautiful. And they know how to manage their risk right from the start. Because if you don't know how to day trade with $2,000 and manage your risks with $2,000, there is no way you learn how to manage your risk with $100 million. You understand that, right? And so this is the fundamentals. It's difficult. That's why I tell you it's difficult. This may be difficult, but it can be done. Learn it right from the start where it matters first. And you will get there one step at a time, and you will get to, well, not everyone gets here. That's why you realize that it's sharper, it's smaller at the top, right? But the thing is, Many people are day trading right now because, well, they want this to be a lottery ticket to get to where they want at the top, right? I'm probably here. I'm very comfortable. We're making my generations ahead are comfortable. We're feeding people outside of our community as well, which is part of what you are helping me towards, and something I want to involve you more actively towards as well. So you realize you don't have to be at the top. In fact, when you're here, you're absolutely comfortable. We will get there. All right. But, at the end, what my point is that this financial knowledge, this risk management knowledge, it starts with the most difficult. If you cannot even control your urges when you're day trading, how are you going to control your urges when I give you $1 million? You see that? You understand what I'm trying to say? So believe it or not, you don't experience that because you have not been through it, or you have not been with someone who will be willing to groom you that has been through it. I have, so I'm telling you, there is this process here that nobody tells you about. The process of getting there, it's you truly have to learn to manage the small, not just a small amount, but how to deal with these small numbers before the big ones come in. You think you can. Believe me, you think you can. But when your first big paycheck lands, you're going to spend it all. Believe me. Believe me, all right? So you have to understand. You have to understand that. So one way to do this is just spend time with each other, right? Not just with me. Because I believe that we will attract like-minded people, right? My values are out there for you to scrutinize. My character is here for you to scrutinize because I'm here literally every single day. Like what I tell you. You don't know someone over a fancy dinner. That person is not going to reveal anything to you. It's going to be all pretentious, all performative. But you know someone better by living in with that person. And that's what you're doing with me, right? I'm here, I think, for about 5-6 years already. Almost every single day I'm here. You see the way I react. You see the way I talk. I know so many of you as well. Not by name, but by behavior. Even better. I know who you are by your behavior. And I know some of your pains. In fact, that's more precious to me. I know some of your addictions. I know some of your suffering. I know some of your family members who are going through suffering. And that's why you're here. That is so precious to me when I know who you are, your behavior, your story, more than your name. Your name is just a placeholder, isn't it, of the story that you are. And I know these stories and your behavior that you share every single day. When you take a trade, I feel your struggle. I sense the struggle. When you take a trade, I feel you're triumphant because you've been through suffering and you're triumphant. So you see that sort of nuance. You cannot replace it. You cannot replace something that we use time, blood, sweat, tears, effort. We devote that to each other. I devote time to you. You devote time back to me. And that's how we grow together. Right? So that's the best way to know. So you know me, these are my values, my character. It doesn't deviate. I cannot pretend forever. Good luck doing that, right? Nobody can. But when I do this every day, you see me day in, day out. Some of you have been in and out with me, the OT, couple of times. You're dear to me, man. You're dear to me. But the point is, right? Like values, people with like-minded, and likeness in values will congregate. And that's how we grow together. That's how we propagate. That's how we know each other better. That's how we attract people who are like-minded. And that's how we grow. You will learn not just from me, but from everything else, right? Everything else. So you have to devote yourself to learning. But first, you need to know. You need to know this is what you want. I mean it. You need to know this is what you want, because it's going to come with suffering. This is not easy. This is not easy. But I want you to aim big. Now, if you're aiming to make 1,000 a day, for example, right? And you learn the skills how to make 1,000 a day, and you manage to make maybe 200 instead. This is more than enough for so many people, you know. More than enough to feed so many people's families. Especially if you don't come from the United States, right? You come from more a country that has a lower standard of price level, of lower standard of costs, right? This is more than enough. What I'm trying to tell you is, you can aim, but remember, as I tell you, your goal is here. You target this, but eventually along the way you realize that you branch out to your purpose, and that's fine. So always remember this chart here, right? This chart is so much more precious than the candlestick charts that we trade with. Knowing your goal and your purpose, right? So set a goal high, set it high, because then you will have more possibilities of the different type of purposes that you're going to fulfill. The most tragic thing is, in my opinion, the most tragic thing is a person not realizing its full purpose. Why? Because people put them down, because people do not believe in them, because they got written off, or because they come from very unfortunate or very disadvantageous circumstances. And as a result, they do not bloom. They do not fulfill their life's purpose. I feel that's the most tragic. But you and I, we have a choice. I had a choice. Trust me, I came from the worst conditions ever, possibly. Okay, I'm not the worst for sure, but disadvantaged enough. I say that because I was healthy when I was younger, right? I have all my limbs. I can talk. I can think properly. So I am not disadvantaged at all, right? Maybe society disadvantaged me, but you have a choice. You have the choice to make to break out of it. So I want you to have the choice. I want you to know why you need to do this, and then you devote every ounce of your energy to try to focus to get this done. It's not going to be easy. It's not linear, right? Trust me, it's not linear. If you can ask around, nobody progresses like that. No, nobody at all, right? Everyone progresses like that, right? Sometimes even lower before they plateau, and then out of nowhere, they get the breakthrough because they break out of the liquidity there. And then they break through. Familiar chart. It happens in life, right? It happens in life. Liquidity is life. It's the same thing. You can draw parallels with life if you have the wisdom to know how to deal with the chart as well. So this is important, right? This is important. Spend time. You do it. It's about spending time, spending your heart, spending your life, right? If you spend time with your children, nothing you won't go wrong. Trust me. That's the most basic premise, right? You spend enough time with your children, you will not go wrong. You spend enough time doing certain things that it's a duty for you to do, you will not go wrong. That's the basic premise. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But the other thing is you believe, right? Some of you do this, but you have the mentality of making just $10 a day. Wrong place for that. Let me tell you that. Wrong place for that. You cannot have that sort of mentality. And that is why you see in my challenges, I always, and I get in trouble with YouTube for saying this. But in my challenges, I've shown you 5-figure days consecutively for an entire month. Right, it's in the record over here. I'll search it out. Right, it's in the record. I am showing you the possibilities so that you realize you are in the winning team. And when you can see it happen, you know the possibilities there, and you know what it takes to get there. So that belief is very important. I don't need to know you to believe in you. Do you know why? Do you know why I can do that? Because I was a nobody in the home, but there are people who believed in me anyway. You realize that I am a beneficiary of someone believing in me when I was a nobody, and when they don't know who I am. So I believe I can extend that sort of belief to you because I have experienced it for myself. So there is nothing wrong in me believing in you because I have experienced it. So that is beautiful, isn't it? That is beautiful. And belief is so important because society, on the day you were born, has already tried to write you off. The color of your skin, the country you're born, it's ridiculous, right? Your gender, right? They write you off. In some countries, they write you off just because you're a woman. Society is designed to write you off from the start because everyone is so self-important. So don't let society write you off, or don't let society stop believing in you, right? Or try to demean you, try to devalue you. People do that because somehow, somewhere, someone has to be better than you, isn't it? That happens in school. In school, you get ranked. You get placed in order in school. But is there a better way to do that? I don't know. I don't think there is. I think there is a better way to do that, but the system it's like that for a reason, for generations. It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic, right? So don't let people put you down. Don't let people put you down, and you must belong somewhere that believes in you. And you realize my belief in you is not based on nothing. The belief in you comes with us putting in the work together. If you are not working with me together, we report in together, we work together, we study together. That's all you got to do, putting in the time. The duty is there. Right? I had the best parenting advice from someone I respect. I asked a lot of things, right? When I had so I have two adopted children, and I have one that I have with my wife. So I have 3 in total. I adopted the 2 children when they are much older. So I don't have a very close relationship as they were toddlers, right? So you understand that dynamic. So when I have my first born child, I wanted to know a lot. I wanted to research a lot of things, right? So I want to know how to be the best father because well, obviously reasons, right? And the best advice I had was just to spend time with your child. That's it. Just spend as much time as you can. You don't even need to think of what you want to do. You don't need to overthink it. Just spend time with the child. Best advice I got. Truly the best advice I got. And it's the same thing, right? In trading, in whatever you want to do, just spend time. Just be here. Look, you don't even know what you want to do. Doesn't matter. Check it in. Check in, listen to me talk trash. That's it, right? Listen to Flux talk trash. You know who you are. Okay, please don't. Yeah, that was just a joke. Keep him from talking trash, right? But the point is, you check in. That's all you need to do, right? Everything will fall in place. Everything will fall in place, and everything will work it out by themselves. Focus on that. I am anxious for you because it's already August. I don't want you to be wasting time, right? Because some of you are wasting time. That's the truth. Some of you are inundated with lots of things in life. Some of you have a day job. Yes, you do. It's difficult, yes. But I'm trying to make it simple for you. For example, 1 trade a day. That's all you got to do. You have to start somewhere. It may be difficult. Yes, it may be difficult. But you realize the way I try to design this, 1 trade a day, learning how to set alerts, and then at the end of day, you do an end of day summary. And over the weekends, you go through a little training with me. You realize that it's possible. No matter your circumstance of life, I've designed this in a way that I am rooting for your success, one way or another. Right? So we need to succeed. I'm desperate for you to succeed, because I know. Likewise, again, I don't know your name. I don't know who you are in real life. If I met you on the streets, I don't know it's you. You don't know it's me. Maybe you do if you entice me to say the S word. Yeah, you probably figure out it's me. But the point is, I don't know who you are, but that doesn't mean I cannot root for your success. It doesn't mean I'm not desperate for your success. And you know why is that? Because I know if we have the same values, and that's why you're here, that's why you're sustaining here with me, because we share the same values. And if I know I have helped you prosper, then you will contribute to society. And you would have done what I would have done with my money as well, and feed other people and make this world a so much better place. For all you know, you will be opening up another orphanage in our name, in our namesake. And that's all I need to care about, right? And that's why I'm rooting for your success. So I don't worry if haters come in. I don't worry if people who are not of the same values come with us in this group. Because truthfully, with that sort of way I'm doing this, right? I mean, look at my videos. They're boring as heck. Look at the way I share things in the Discord server. They're boring as heck, right? If you don't share the same values as I do, you're not going to last. So I don't worry. This is like the natural filter. So I want you to succeed. I don't even need to know your name. I know your behavior. I want you to succeed. So I'm a little anxious. It's August. Are you doing your best? August, September, October, November. 5 months left. We have 5 months to the end of the year, and there we go again. Another new year. Another declaration of your commitments, and yet another year that's wasted. How many years do you want to waste? We don't have much time, you know. I almost died. I really almost died. I don't have much time, neither do you. Right? I'm not good at many things, but I'm trying my best. Right? So I mean, building up this Discord server is something that I'm absolutely out of my depth. I'm trying my best. Live streaming, I'm out of my depth. But you see, I did my first live stream, and right now this is probably my 50th training session. You put in the work. You try to do something. You do it. I'm a fish out of water with this, but I do it anyway, right? Obviously, with your guidance, with your support. And many of you are teaching me new things as well, right? So likewise to you, trading may be very difficult for you. But you have to put in the work. Just do it. One step at a time, right? 1 trade a day, that's all you need to do. Then as I have taught you, you study your own metrics. Just paper trade if you truly don't have the time and money to do that, right? Do it that way. It's important, right? It's important that you do that. Now, to the matter of well, thank you for listening to me rant about your success. These words come from my heart, so it just flowed out. I'm putting in the hours every day, man. I truly want your success. I don't know if you feel it. I don't have to do this, there are days I wake up and I just don't want to do it. There are days like that. I'm sure likewise for you, right? But it's a duty. And you see, I'm telling you now, you have saved my life. Because of you, I have duty now. You have saved my life. Maybe without you, God would have taken me home after that brain surgery. Maybe God left me here because of you. Amazing how things work. Amazing, isn't it? We carry on. Now, I know the type of suffering that some of you are going through, right? Addictions, I see it. Some of you share with me addictions. I know, I see it. I see it. I see you. Some of you are suffering because you are a caretaker for one of your family members. That's why you're doing this, right? That's why you're learning to trade, because you're not mobile. You don't have the freedom of time. That's why you have to learn to do this, so that you can feed someone who needs your continued care and devotion. Some of you have disabilities, or because of an accident, or because of a duty, a tour that has left you disabled, and you are finding alternatives to make a living. That's why you're here. I know. Some of you are written off by society, right? We have jobs that are not easy, right? We're putting in the hours, but they're paying very little, and you're just trying to find another way out, right? Because it's because society has classified you in a place where you shouldn't be. I know. I see you every day, man. I spend so much time with you. I know. I don't always talk about it. I mean, in trading hours, this is serious business, If you have no idea that I spend all my bandwidth doing this, right? I'm charting, I'm taking my trades, I'm doing analysis, I'm typing, I'm drawing. This takes up so much of my bandwidth. That's why I don't seem human sometimes. I don't show emotions, right? But right now I can. I'm telling you, I see you. I read your trades every day. I read what you type every day. I know. I know. And, some of you are here because other people need your help. And that's why you're here. You may not like me, but you're here because someone else needs your help. I know that too. So, know that we are doing good work here. Now, trading may not be that savory, right? Not a lot of people like what this represents, right? Because this represents a lot of materialism. This represents a lot of conceit. This represents a lot of gambling, a lot of betting. People who don't know, right? This a lot of greed. This is a terrible place to be holy. Let me tell you that. Yes. But we are different, right? We are charting this in the right direction for ourselves, for our future generations. You see how we can make this into a very healthy activity. You see it every single day for our lives, isn't it? And you know why is that possible? Because we know how to deal with it. Because we are legitimate. You and I, we are legitimate, not just in our heart, not just in our intentions, not just in our values, but also our approach to this. You and I literally have the skill to know how to extract the right value from this. So therefore, we do not exhibit all the toxic behavior. And like what I always say, if the refiner's fire will refine you, and if you are pure gold, you don't have to be worried. Let us be refined. But as long as our heart is pure, our mind is clear, and we build the right skills to do that, we will be absolutely fine. So It's August, all right? It's August. You need to do better. Some of you, right? This is me smacking you right now. You need to do better. Some of you are just not taking this seriously. And I have to remind you that there are people out there putting in the work for you, with you, right, and rooting for your success. I don't know why you're not taking this seriously. And I know because some of you may have a chip on your shoulder. Some of you may have a foundation that is shaky that you cannot stand on. I give you an example. I know this. Some of you may come from a family that's broken. You don't even have a place to stay. Or you have a baggage that's just wearing you down, just encumbering you. I know that. Now deal with those problems first, please. Deal with it. You don't have to solve those problems, but you have to come to terms with it. Then you continue to live your life with that problem in tow. But you are in control. You're not allowing the problems to control you. That is very important. If you allow the problems to control you, you will always sulk. You will always have a baggage. You will always be encumbered. And you will never soar because it will always be dragging you down. Be in control, right? So come to terms with certain things. For example, if you have a deficiency, one way or another, come to terms with it and deal with it. Whatever it is, a lack of certain skill, lack of money, you have family problems, you have an addiction, deal with it. Be in control. Then you can build your life again. Because what we're doing here is part of you building your life. You're here learning this because you want to build your life financially, one way or another. You need a foundation before you can build something on that foundation, isn't it? So when your foundation has to be strong and not encumbered by problems. So right now, focus on that. Most of you, focus on that. Because you're not taking this seriously, you're still repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. You realize the problem is not the trading. The problem is not you. You are not the problem because everyone wants to blame you. You are the easy one to blame, isn't it? For example, first time I meet you, I see that you have a problem. I don't even know who you are, your life story. Obviously, I'm just going to blame you, right? For example, you see someone sleeping on the streets. You don't know that person's story. You don't care. Honestly, you don't care, right? You don't know that person. You don't care. Who's the first person you blame? You blame that person. It must be because he's lazy. That's why he's where he at right now. You realize everyone will want to try to blame you because they don't know your story. I've been through a deep story. I know, so I can empathize with you. You are where you are at right now, not because of your fault. Usually, and I can tell you with certainty, 99% of the time, it is not your fault. So stop blaming yourself. Stop blaming yourself. Most important thing, stop blaming yourself. And you have to find out what the real problem is. And it is not you. When you're lazy in your mind because it has been downtrodden, because it has been beaten to pulp, life has beaten up your mind into pulp, that you have no longer the capacity to think beyond, blaming yourself, you realize that's a problem. You blame yourself because life has already beaten you up, that you have no more bandwidth to think of what the real problem is. I'm trying to tell you now that the problem is not you. It's not you. Figure out the problem. You can't. You're blowing up your account every other day. The problem is not you. Figure out what the real problem is. And most of the time, I can tell you, you're probably chasing a loss. You haven't forgiven yourself, and this is not a new message to some of you. I've told you this so many times. You need to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. You forgive yourself, you allow God to forgive you. God wants to forgive you, but you don't want God to forgive you. You don't want to forgive yourself. And you allow all these past transgressions become the definition of your life, your identity moving forward. Some of you don't even realize what's going wrong with your life. And you will never progress. You will always be blowing your account. You will always be falling back to bad habits. And that's just how it is. And then you blame yourself, and the cycle continues. It becomes a vicious cycle thereafter and after and after. And there it goes. Your failure is complete. When we come together every single day, right, it's a reminder that someone out there is still doing this for you. You need to know that. I learned this in the home that I grew up in. I learned it. I'm not related to the person running the home. I am a nobody, but someone is there keeping it running. Someone is there making sure that things are in order so that we can grow up. These people don't even know who I will be in 20 years' time. But someone is there doing the work. And I don't know anyone. I don't know every one of them by name. There are people out there that are just serving without people wanting to know their name. They're fine. They serve because they know they serve a larger purpose. These people have impacted my life and I don't even know their name. Because they put in the work, they put in the... So I'm telling you, I'm speaking. I'm not telling you all these because it's platitudes or they are just motherhood statements. No. I'm telling you all these by experience. Someone out there has put in the work, reported in for work daily. I don't even know that person exists. That's where I am today. Likewise, for this, whatever we're doing here, I am putting the work. Someone else is putting the work. Someone is doing a recording. Someone is charting my trades. Someone is answering questions that you asked. Someone is here reporting in, just spending time with you here, right? They report in every day, 9:30 a.m., just to spend time, just to show you that, hey, I'm here. So must you. You don't need to know that person, but you need to know that that person believes in you. That's why he's doing this, or she is doing this. You get my point. So stop blaming yourself. Come to work, right? Report in. Get work. Get to do work, right? Every day, come in, get work done. Put in the work. Progress. Find progress in yourself, right? That's really important. I really want you to succeed. I really, really do. A big part of what I do here is hoping you succeed and you will contribute to society, right? That's why I'm doing this as well. Because I realize how much money can I make personally? How you realize that, right? How much money can I make as a person, and how much impact can I make in the world? It's so limited. But if I can teach 100 of you, and 100 of you impact the world, if 100 of you contribute to society, it will be infinitely more than what I can ever do as someone. How much money can I really earn to take care of people? I can't. It's not realistic. I realize that in my challenge because I've been doing this for maybe 10 years, opening up orphanages. There are 3 now currently. I can't get to the 4th one. I can't. It's so difficult. And this 3 is I've technically opened 5. I had to close down 2. So 3 is the net of 5, right? I had to close down. It's so difficult. But if I can impact 100 people, maybe 100 of you can open 1 each. Maybe, I don't know. Wow, there you go. So, yeah. That's why I'm doing this, right? It's. I don't know. I mean, I don't know your name. I don't know who you are. I don't know your family. But I know you share same values with me. That's why you can tolerate me. I know that because of that, if you make money, you are going to do something great for the society or your life. Because some of us we are wounded healers, right? I will attract people who need healing because I am a wounded healer. I have been wounded and I now learn how to heal. And you are wounded, you are here, and I'm trying to heal you. So you will be a wounded healer. And you, as a wounded healer, will heal another person whom you can see immediately who's also wounded. Yep. Okay. I know. All right. Let's thank you for listening in. I'm supposed to take questions, right? So give me let's carry this on for another 15 minutes. Let me see what questions I can take. But I'm a little done. I'm ready. I'm ready for the trading day tomorrow. Non-trading questions, please. Let's have a little chat. I want to know. Likewise, right? As I always tell you, I care more about you as a person, especially on Sundays when I'm more relaxed. The trading floor is not live, so I'm not stressed over the charts. I'm not stressed about the analysis I have to give you. So I can have more bandwidth to care about you as a person. So share with me, right? I want to know more. I want to know more, right? I want to know more about you. I want to know more about your struggles. I want to know about your successes. That's important for me. So much more important than the technicalities of the chart, which we are. I mean, frankly speaking, we are spending 6 hours a day running through charts, right? We have time for that. We certainly do, right? And I already spent 1 hour in the first hour of this training already running through the technicals. So there is a never-ending studying and reviewing, right? I'm not too concerned about that sometimes. Sundays, I just want to spend time with you. I think that's more important to me. And to you, you have to realize that by doing this together as a community, it truly beats doing this alone. It's such a misguided concept that the modern YouTubers are telling you, oh, you have to trade like a lone wolf. You have to do this alone, otherwise, it's such a misguided concept. If you're not going in as a community, if you're not going in as a team, you are going to get wiped out. Because firstly, you're inflating your own sense of ego. You think you can do it yourself. Now imagine having that sort of ego on the trading floor. You are doomed. Right? The fact that we need each other, right? We humble ourselves. We already start right. We're starting right by telling the market, I can't do it myself. It's different. You're already approaching the market with the right way of winning. So just be careful, right? Whatever you digest out there, all sorts of content out there, it's entertaining, right? I mean, it's entertaining. You watch videos that's entertaining. It tickles a little bit of the itch in you about fantastical fantasies of owning a nice car, big houses. You know what I mean, right? It tickles a little bit. I watch them sometimes. I get tickled by it. It's entertaining, but you got to be able to discern reality and fantasy, especially in the duties in life, right? People who don't discern are not doing real work, right? Many of you are doing real work, right? We have doctors in our midst. We have healthcare professionals in our midst. We have people serving in the armed forces in our midst. We have first responders in our midst. We have crucial workers, right? We have delivery people. We have truckers. We have very crucial people who are doing food, who are making sure your work If you stop working, the world stops working, right? You know who you are. You know who you are. You are essential people. You are able to tell fantasy from reality. Absolutely. Because every single day you're steeped in reality. If you stop working, the world stops working. You know who you are. I know who you are, some of you. Right? So you must do work. You must be part of the responsibility of the world's ecosystem. Then you will be able to tell and discern the fantasy and the reality, and then you can focus on reality, right? We will chat here in the YouTube chat, the comments. Yeah, firefighters, yes, first responders, absolutely, right? Yeah, we have to fix our problems, right? Absolutely. Now, how do you take emotions out of trading? It must not matter to you, right? So the biggest tip I can give you, if you just want a one-liner, it is to scale down. You scale down to the point that it doesn't even affect you. It's easy for me, right? Because I have more than enough. Day trading will not bankrupt me. That's you see what I mean. It's dangerous, yes. I can still blow an account, but it will never bankrupt me. So I am never threatened. So you see, I can do trades. I can do trades that you probably can't, just by virtue that I have more money. And that's how the big banks do it, right? They bully the smaller banks. That's how they do it, right? So they will never lose, because when they're about to lose, they make sure. I mean, this is fact. That's how they do it. They offload their toxic assets off their, or liabilities in that case, off their balance sheet by passing it to a smaller bank or a subsidiary. They know how to bully, right? So anyway, the point is scale down. If it matters to you emotionally, it means you are trading to larger size, right? So emotion is very important. So how I suggest you to do it is you trade as little contracts to the point that you know it's not going to affect you. So how I do it is, I know personally in my mind, if I'm going big ticket, right? If I'm going big contracts, big game, I need to know that if I lose this trade, I can make it back easily in the next one. Now, when I have that mindset, obviously it has to be rational, right? It has to be calculated. You cannot just be making things up. So you have to do the math. You need to know your metrics. So to me, it's quite simple. I know my red trade can be covered back very easily with my next green trade. And that's therefore, you see my rule. If I have 2 red trades, I call it a day, because I don't intend to recover on that day anymore. So 2 reds and I'm out. But if I have 1 red, I know the next one, if it's green, I will cover it back. Because, I have the ability to do that. Because my metrics are there. I know that my math is there, and I can do that. So when you can do that, you're not afraid of the red trade. Firstly, you're not afraid of taking risks. And secondly, you don't get emotional about it. So the rules have a certain first principles to it, right? Charting SPY is better because by virtue that it is an increment of 0.01, right? So you have smoother, right? Firstly, the candlesticks move more smoother than one tick on the ES. You understand what I mean? But yet you open up the ES charts because you want to identify some of the key levels and obviously the structure. You need to remember, candlestick charts are 2-dimensional, but that doesn't mean the data is 2-dimensional, right? I talked about this yesterday. Last week in the last week's trading video. The velocity of how the candle moves is also a way of representing volume. So SPY is liquid. SPY is liquid. It's smooth, right? The candles move very smoothly, so you can appreciate the velocity and the momentum of the candlesticks. that tell you more than just the price, tell you more than just this two-dimensional data of time and price. You understand that, right? So there is a derivative value here. It's derived, but yet it's a third value. So I can derive volume from this axis. Does it make sense, right? So yes, SPY has its, that's the reason I chart SPY even though I trade SPX, right? So yeah. Right, let's see. Three things I would tell my younger self when you're going through the trials and tribulations. Three things I would tell myself. Let's see. It's a good question. Even if I told my younger self, I don't think my younger self would listen. I would tell my younger self that there's nothing to worry about. Just go out there because you're young. You can make mistakes. Time will solve the mistakes for you. So the earlier you make mistakes, the better, because that means you have more time to rectify things. So yeah, I'm not going to give my younger self advice because my younger self will never listen. But I will assure my younger self, I'll tell my younger self, and to you, many young people out there, I'll tell you that time will fix things if you're honest with yourself. Because time will always be your ally if you are honest, because truth prevails. If you're lying, time becomes your enemy because you're fighting against time to make sure that you don't get exposed. And the longer you wait, the more trepidation you have, and the more fearful you will become. But remember this advice I gave you a couple of training videos ago. I always tell you, whatever you do in life, make sure time is your ally. Because when time is your ally, you will always win. Eventually, you will win. Right? So make time your ally, whatever you do. And that's why when you have more assets than liability, time becomes your ally. Whatever you do, make sure time is your ally. If you have debts, time is not your ally. Time becomes your liability, right? Time becomes your enemy. Because with more time, the more interest you have to pay, right? The more you have to pay, the more you may forget about that. And that's how all the banks do it, right? They make sure that time is your enemy. But they don't tell you that, right? So therefore, they lend you money over 30 years. Time is no longer your ally. They lend you money over 30 years and you have to worry about it over 30 years. So it becomes haunting to you. 30 years, this debt haunts you. Because if you fail to pay for one time, over 30 years, you're going to get a penalty. So make time your ally, whatever you do, right? Even your relationship, make time your ally. The longer time you spend, the longer time passes, the stronger your relationship is. How can that be happening if you have no hidden sin? Right? If you're always transparent, time will always be your ally. You have no fear. So let that be, one thing, right? You got to do. Yes. Scaling down is OP, and yes. We have dentists and doctors. Doctors, I would just call you all doctors, right? Because I've learned this about my friends who are dentists. They learn everything a doctor needs to know, but they only deal with the teeth. So that's why they are absolutely qualified doctors. And I've learned that if you don't take care of your teeth, you're going to have heart problems. I've learned that the hard way. Thank you for your well wishes, some of you. I'm reading the comments. You don't know I'm reading it because I don't know how to show it on the screen. But let me answer them when I come to it. Yeah, I'm reading everything. Now, you have no edge on the market. Trust me on that. If you think you have an edge, you you're gonna get, the market is just out there to prove you wrong. One day, prove you wrong. I have no edge. You have no edge. The only edge you have is to minimize your risks. That's why I tell you, one trade a day, you get out of the market. The more you think you have an edge, the more you're going to trade, the more you're going to lose. Cut your time down in the market. Nobody wants to enter the war zone all the time, right? You make it incision. You make an incision and you make it precise. You go in, you come out, you call it a day. No one wants to be. If you have been in a war zone enough, you never want to go back there again. It's the same thing with the trading floor. You know how risky it is. You get out of there. You never want to overstay your welcome there, right? So people who overtrade do not know the dangers yet of this place. This place is dangerous. This place has crushed and destroyed so many people and their families. It's dangerous. Get out there as much as you can. And trust me, you and I, we have no edge. The day you think you have an edge is the day you're going to start losing money. We have no edge. We never do. All right? So always study, always know that the market is going to fool you one way or another. So you have to over-prepare. Over-prepare. You will never go wrong if you over-prepare. Please, take my word for it. All right? Yes, and me to you for being part of your life, right? As I told you, you have saved me. You being here have saved my life. I truly believe that God left me here still because of you. Let's see. Volume is something that is very difficult to understand. Because firstly, where is this volume from? There are multiple exchanges. Nowadays, brokers trade in-house. So the broker you're using, it trades in-house. It's not even going through to the exchange. So the volume you see here is arbitrary. It's arbitrary, but yet it matters because it prints, right? So dangerous. It's dangerous. What you need to worry about is not this volume. Is the immediate orders within the price that you are placing your orders, right? So that they call it the order books. That is something you may want to look into, right? I don't. Okay, it's not very crucial information for you to succeed. But yeah, if you want to know volume, open up your level 2, right? Open up your depth of markets. Open up the order book so you know what's going on. You know what are the orders that are being placed. And many of them now, because of the algorithms, are fake orders. They are meant to deceive. They're not orders to be filled. So you just have to be careful with that as well. So I'm telling you, volume is arbitrary. But understanding the strength of the candle links to volume, and the strength of the candle matters to you because you are looking at the print. So the strength matters. Because, for example, a large green candle like that, for example, this large green candle here, what your eye can register is once this large green candle comes in, I will protect it straight away because I will get good slippage. You see, that's the interpretation of that. It's got nothing to do with the data, but I know with experience that if I'm trading options, especially 0 day to expiry, if there is a large candle spike like that, there will be slippages and I will take the slippage. I will be the one earning the slippage. You understand that, right? So there is certain ways to that, but don't be too technical because this is something I learned also when I was working back then. There are millions and millions of data points. We are just not good enough to digest everything. So take what you can, right? And to us as mere humans, we probably only need less than 10 data points and use them. That's it. Use the 10 efficiently. I'd rather you use 10 or even less, 5 data points efficiently than worrying about hundreds of them and you don't even know how to use them. So keep it simple, man. Keep it simple. Oh, I will pop in the day. I read the day trade chat. I do. I do. I just don't want to distract you or, yeah. I just don't want to distract you. Yeah, this video, this will probably be one of the last public YouTube training videos I'm gonna put out. So do cherish it if you're not a Discord members. Do cherish it. I will be posting useful content anyway. So don't worry. I got you. I'm taking care of you anyway. If you size down, you must be aware of the spreads, right? So if you're trading SPX, obviously the spread is fantastic because it's very voluminous. If you're trading XXP, I would think that is a tenth of SPX. Is that right? I'm not sure. Check the spreads because it's going to be poor, right? Especially if you're trading options. It's going to be very poor spreads because there's just not enough liquidity. So trade SPY. Why don't you just trade SPY? Trade SPY is so much better. Discipline is a very important thing, right? What helps you with being disciplined? How did you guys instill discipline to all the people you trained back in your day? Believe it or not, the best way to get you or any human being to act is fear. Fear is the number one motivator. You have not suffered enough if you don't know fear, right? I would suggest you lose everything, sleep on the streets, or have people completely look down on you, fail you. You will never, ever look at success and take it for granted ever again, right? The fear. Find something you really fear. What do you fear? Many people don't fear, not even God, right? They don't fear God. That's why they do things that are atrocious. And that's, I believe it's another argument whether God is real or not, all right? I don't want to have that argument here. But the truth is, if you don't even fear a higher power, whether it's real or not, it's a secondary matter. But when human beings don't fear even something that they believe it's more powerful than them, then we have become lawless, right? This society just lacks that respect already. And lack that respect, lack that fear. As a result, we have so much decay in society because we lack fear. It seems that no one is fearful of anything anymore, right? And it's made worse by social media. So fear is quite important. It's not necessarily a bad thing, right? The right fear is reverence. So yeah, you learn that fear and reverence, there's a certain difference. So we must revere the world. The same way, right? We don't fear Mother Nature enough now. We don't fear deforestation. We don't fear climate change. We take it for granted. And you realize, you see how bad that impact is. So in trading, you must fear. What do you fear? You have to manifest that fear as well. Fear of failing your family, fear of your family going hungry. Have you ever felt that? Have you? I have been hungry. I've been hungry. I know what hunger means. To many of us, hunger is just a concept. But you have not truly felt it. You should put yourself in a place where you will literally starve and serve the people there. When you experience hunger like no other, you will never oversleep again. Until, of course, your life gets better, then you forget how it feels, because as human beings, we need to remind each other. So my advice to you, to most of you, is to volunteer somewhere where you experience suffering and you are part of the suffering yourself. Volunteer. And, because of that, as I always tell you, when you serve, you are hijacking another person's experience. And because of that, you will learn. You will learn because you serve. All right. Yes, there are some updates. I will be providing the updates this week as I roll them out slowly. So the prop firm, there will be some updates. Some changes to the Discord, there will be updates. Lifers, I will have an update for you. We will have a meeting over the weekend, the weekdays, one of the weekdays. But let me roll them out. I'm still flashing them out. So thank you for giving me time. This is not a great software. I can't see my comments properly. I'm sorry if I missed some comments because they're not showing up very clearly for me. But let me try to answer as much as I can. Chacha has taken a video of my charting every single day. Go figure it out yourself. You will figure it out. You will, and when you figure it out, I don't even need to tell you anything, right? But what I'm telling you is one thing that I pay close attention to. What I pay attention to is the movement of the candles, right? So I want you to pay close attention to the movement of the candles followed by the wicks. And that is important. Sometimes the market gives us clues in a 30-minute chart. Sometimes the market gives us clues pre-market. So there are already some algorithms that are already showing up, right? So they are quite... figure it out yourself, yeah? I'll give you some very important clues. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I'm up to this Discord members for about 4 years. Firstly, thank you. And secondly, as long as we have crossed path and I have impacted you one way or another, likewise, you have impacted me one way or another. Because you have contributed, or at least financially, to my causes. I'm grateful, right? As long as we have crossed path, we take what we learn from each other and we leave what we don't like at the door. Absolutely fine, right? More opportunities ahead. As long as we're both alive, we have so much we can continue working on together. I am awake at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. every day. The market opens at 6:30 for me. So I'm by 3 a.m. I'm up and just checking out, especially London Open. And that's important, right? Yeah. Can you give 2 or 3 examples of what things you were referring to that I'm not good at? I'm obviously not good at making YouTube videos, as you can tell, right? My production quality is extremely poor. I had no idea how to live stream, so thanks to some of you who taught me, as well as ChatGPT, obviously, right? I'm able to do it, and you realize with practice things just get well. I'm very poor with all these Discord server. You can see the Discord is so basic, it's so bare bones. These are things that I'm not good at. So, but it doesn't matter, right? I'm doing the work. We will still fulfill our objectives if we continue to do the work that we need to do, right? Yes, Slippage is my middle name. Yeah. Good for you. Liquidity is a very, very important concept that is not definitive. Technically speaking, all right, let me just be a little technical. Everything is liquidity. Technically speaking, everything is liquidity. But when I mention liquidity, you realize, let's see this part of the chart like that. Okay, just this part of the chart. You can tell this is more concentrated and this is more concentrated than this, right? So this is stronger liquidity. Technically, this is liquidity too. You cannot say it's not liquidity because there are orders there, right? So you notice this is just more concentration of orders and therefore it's known as liquidity. A simple concept is that. I will explain that in technical details next time, all right? But this is a very simple concept right there. Bookmap is just a visualization of the orders. So yeah, it's just a visualization, sure. It's very expensive though, so if you don't see a need for it, it's not necessary. One reason is because we are finding profits in the charts literally within a very small range. So it's very confusing if you have Bookmap in the small range like that. You're learning new data points, as I told you. If it helps you, fine, it's great. But if you cannot cope with more data points, then don't. As I said, If you can find 5 data points and be extremely efficient with it, then you're going to make a lot more money than having 100 data points and not knowing what to do with it, right? So if you're asking if it's essential, I'm saying no, and it's very expensive. So yeah, they wanted to. So here's the thing. There are many people who want to sponsor what we're doing, right? So what happens is that they want to pay me money for me to feature them, right? And this company is one of them. We didn't work out something because I don't want to have sponsors. I don't need sponsors. I don't want to have sponsors. So yeah, but they are expensive. They are very expensive. I wanted to work with them to give you a good deal, right? So I wanted you to have a good deal. I said, this is true story. I have an email with that. I said, I don't want to take any money. But is that a possibility where you can give me a deal where you take my sponsorship money and you make it cheaper for my members? So I have this in email. So I wrote to them in Bookmap. They couldn't do it because they told me that the bulk of the money is being paid to the exchange. So it's expensive because you're paying to the exchange for the data. They are just a visualization software. You understand that, right? So anyway, I have that in writing, but that was years ago, so it didn't work out. So as you can see, from till today, we have no sponsors because there was this crypto coin that was willing to pay me 6 figures just for a shout out in a video. 6 figures. That's how crazy it was during there was this period of time everyone was trading crypto, right? So many coins. So many scams as well, right? But wow, it's just incredible how you know something is wrong, right? I always believe in this. I always believe if there is this, to me, it's a sort of gluttony, right? If there's a gluttony in the market, you know something is wrong, right? So if someone is willing to overpay you for something, you know something is wrong, right? Anyway. I'm going to end soon. Give me a couple, maybe 10 more minutes. Let me just run through as much as I can. Everything is gambling, right? I read everything, but I can't address everything, right? So apologies if I miss. It may seem I miss your message, but I didn't. I acknowledge them, so thank you for sending your message. I just want to talk a little bit because we're running out of time. Everything in life is a gamble. I put it to you this way. Today, before you sit on your chair, did you do a test on your chair? Did you truly assess that your chair can sit your weight? Have you measured your weight to know how much you actually weigh at the point in time you sit on your chair? So are you not gambling by sitting on the chair, hoping that it will stay without you collapsing? So that is not a gamble. You realize that, right? It is a probability. Probability is not gambling. Gambling is a disease. It's a condition. It's a problem. It's when you don't give. It's when you are not aware. It's when you get lazy. It's when you don't think. It's when you don't keep record of time. Don't keep record of your data. So it's a disease. It's not. Trading is not gambling if you're a professional, if you know exactly what you're doing. And that's what I'm trying to impart to you. Before you came to my channel, you were probably gambling. But now that you're here, I'm teaching you how not to gamble on the trading floor. You see the difference, and I hope you learn. I hope you learn. All right? So I wouldn't say this is gambling. Sometimes, yes, you have to place intelligent bets. But say you already made $1,000 and you're taking $10, placing on a probability, and you will still make $990 anyway. You're just taking $10 on a probability that's quite high in order to increase maybe your risk to reward slightly more. Is that gambling? Or is that an intellectual mathematical calculation you already made beforehand? So you see, who's in control? When you're gambling, you are not in control. When you are in control, you are not gambling. Make that distinction, yeah? So don't worry. If someone's telling you, hey, this is gambling, you know exactly you're not. You just have to rationalize it. All right? So the minute you think you're gambling, stop. Because you probably are. Because you have no idea what you're doing. If you have no idea what you're doing, you're gambling. And some of you take trades like gambles. Yes, you do. Sometimes I'm tempted to take a gambling trade. I'm tempted. But when that happens, as I always tell you, use partial profits. Use money you've already made if you truly want to make a reckless gamble. Because you are not being in control. You're allowing the market to be in control. It happens to me. Sometimes I'm just tired. Right? So that's important, right? Okay, I'm carrying on reading. I'm going to end soon, all right? So thank you for staying with me. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, good. Okay, I'm reading comments. I don't necessarily respond to them. Doesn't mean I don't read it. Right. Someone made. Please don't waste money on this. I thank you that person, that Black Rain, that put $10. I am not a streamer. I'm a trader. I know people do that to get attention. I know I do. I read everything, so don't worry. Please don't waste money doing, what do you call this? Super chat? No, don't waste money. All right, take this $10. When you do this, YouTube takes what, 30%? I don't know. I don't even know. YouTube takes a big part of it, right? Take this $10, put it in St. Jude's, it's better. All right. But thank you anyway. I appreciate it. Yes, I am going to. So what's going to happen, Black Rain and everyone else who is curious about this question, what's going to happen is I am introducing some AI elements with all the messages in the Discord. So we create actually, okay, the technicalities are here, right? Is it an LLM or is it an RAG? So whatever it is, I'm trying to make it so that all our knowledge database can be retrieved. That's why it's an RAG. Can be retrieved with an AI model that can help us to intelligentize it. Right? Is there such a word? Make it intelligent. So yes, help is on the way. I know it's a little confusing, and we live in times that is very beneficial to us, right? So I'm intending to do that. It's taking time. Firstly, I'm doing all the exporting and the archiving of all the knowledge database that we have, and it's taking a lot of time because apparently, if I do it too quickly, Discord will flag me. So what they're doing is that they're doing it's trickling, right? It's exporting the information, but it's trickling, so it does not flag the Discord servers that there is massive dump of data. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Some of you who are more technical. Yeah. Prop firm. What prop firm am I talking about? Lifers will know, right? It's a project that we will be embarking together. We are creating our own prop firm. Do you not know that yet? I will share more next time. All right, we're creating. I have a big plan ahead. Lifers will know, right? It's big. That's why you have to be a lifer, because I have no timeline for that. So I want you to have no timeline with me, and that's why when you're a lifer, you don't worry about the timeline. So there is always a first principles to what we're doing, right? There is always a rationale, an explanation, nothing to hide. Everything we do have a certain thought process to it. Not yet, Lifer's email. I have sent some, but from what I see, not everything is sent. I will tell you when the system tells me that everything is sent. All right, I will inform you, don't worry. Yeah, your system. Yeah, I mean, frankly speaking, the system changes as well, right? You're talking about the edge. Look, they introduce 0 day to expiry and the system changes. Soon they're going to introduce 24 hours trade. The system is going to change. So you need to have professional systems, right? You need to have professional skills so that you can adapt to the change. And that's what we're doing together. I can adapt to the change because I understand, right? Mathematically, I understand what this means. So even if there are changes to this, I'm able to interpret it. So this is what you need, right? And this is the thing. You're probably not a math major. You probably don't need to understand deep inside what these mean. So it's difficult for you, and that's fine, right? That's why we learn together. I will always be here. So I will guide you. I'm looking forward 24 hours trading, right? If they make the exchange 24 hours, there will certainly be changes, a lot of changes. And we will see. We will see. I will be ready for that. Like what I say, if you have a loss, right? My way of dealing with it is I know that the next trade is, as long as I'm green, I will cover it back and more. So keep your scale down. If you scale down, you don't have to worry. Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone. I finally covered everything. Thank you. I read everything. I may not have responded to you one way or another, but I read it and I acknowledge. I thank you. I thank you for sending. I'm very hesitant to open lifers because I know that there will be abusers, but maybe I will. There has been requests. There's a wait list. There have been requests for lifers to come in. I don't know yet, but I would love more people in our endeavor, right? But I don't know how to qualify you. We'll see. I will give everyone a fair chance. Don't worry. I will give everyone, new or old, a fair chance. And we, as a collective, we will give each other a fair chance. So it's there will be. Yeah, LLM and RAG system, yes. Can you imagine that in our Discord server? That will be absolutely beautiful, right? Can you imagine the learning that will develop from there? I'm very excited for what's coming up. I'm very excited. Or anyway, thank you very much. It's been almost 3 hours. I truly am grateful that you're here with me all the way. Hopefully you spent a well-spent afternoon together with me. I'm grateful. I think your work will be honored. Your time will be honored. The same way I think that my work will be honored as well. So anyway, thank you very much. I'll see you closer to opening bell tomorrow. I'll prepare you tomorrow. All right. Yes, thank you for the technical explanations of LLM and RAG. That's right. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Thank you for that. Okay. Be well. Yes, everyone. Right. God bless you and have a good Sunday ahead. I'll see you closer to opening bell. Goodbye.